Hello and welcome back to our design pattern series. In the previous episode, we built our first creational design pattern, the singleton. We made the constructor private, stored one static instance, and exposed a single doorway called getInstance. It took perfect until one question changed everything. What happens if two threads call getInstance at exactly the same time? Imagine our application is running on multiple threads. The sales department wants to print an invoice, and at the exact same moment, HR wants to print an employee report. Both the threads call the same method, getInstance. Now let's slow down everything. Sales department checks whether the instance exists. It does not. But before the sales create the object, the CPU switches to another thread. So now HR performs the exact same check. It also finds the instance to be null. Now both the threads believe they should create the singleton, and suddenly we have two print managers instead of one. Now this problem is called a race condition. Both the threads are racing to create the same object. Whoever reaches the finish line first wins. Unfortunately, sometimes both manage to create an object before either of the thread knows what the other has done. And this result depends entirely on timing. And that's why concurrency bugs are often difficult to reproduce. So now that we have understood the theory, let's prove this in Java. Here I am going to create two separate threads, and each thread will ask our print manager for the singleton instance. Then we will simply print the object's hash code, and if singleton is really working, both the threads should receive exactly the same object. So here is our first thread. It calls getInstance to fetch the print manager. And now we print the object's hash code. Think of this as the object's identity. Now let's create another thread. It does exactly the same thing. Okay, so now this part of the code is done. Let's run this a few times because the result might actually change. So now what we see here in the output is that the hash codes are different. That's because thread scheduling is not predictable. So now let's run this test again, and we see that hash codes are same. And this is because if one thread creates the object before the other one checks, both will get the same instance. That unpredictability is exactly what makes race conditions so dangerous. Okay, so now the most obvious solution to solve this problem is simple. Don't allow two threads to enter getInstance together. So Java already provides us a keyword for that, and it is called synchronized. So let's add this keyword before our getInstance method. This will ensure that only one thread can enter this method at a time. So sales goes in and HR has to wait outside. So let's run the code again, and we see the same hash codes for these objects. Our race condition is gone, but we have just now created another problem. Think about what actually happens. The singleton object is created only once. Every future call simply returns that same object. Yet, every single thread still has to wait at the synchronized method. We don't need to lock the method forever. We only need to lock it while creating the object. So here is a better question. Do we really need to synchronize the entire method, or do we only need synchronization while creating the singleton? So it turns out that we only need to protect this one piece of code which creates the singleton object. So now first let's check whether the object already exists. And if it does not, now we lock the class. But wait, why another check? So to explain why we have checked instance equal to null two times, so let's imagine the sales reaches the lock, but HR gets there first. HR creates the singleton, and when sales finally enters, the object already exists. Without this second check, sales would create another object. And that's why the second check is absolutely essential. Now we are almost done, but there is one tiny detail that can still break everything. A single keyword, and the keyword is volatile. This one keyword makes our implementation truly thread safe. Why volatile keyword is important? I'll explain with the help of this house analogy. Imagine in building a house, first comes the foundation, then the walls, and then finally the roof. Once all these things are done, the keys are handed over. But imagine someone gets the keys before the house is completely built. They walk inside only to discover that the walls are not even finished. And that's surprisingly similar to what can happen while Java creates an object. Internally, creating an object is not a single operation. So first, memory is allocated and then the object is constructed. Finally, the reference is assigned. Without this volatile keyword, the JVM may reorder some of these steps. That means another thread could see the reference before the object is fully constructed. So by declaring the instance as volatile, we prevent this reordering and ensure that every thread always receives a fully initialized object. So now let's execute this our truly implemented thread safe singleton. And in the output, we will always see the same hash codes. That means no different print manager objects are created. There will be only one instance of this print manager class. We must use a thread safe singleton when multiple threads may access the same shared resource. Example, lodging services, configuration managers, print managers, or connection pools. But if your application is strictly single threaded, the basic singleton implementation is often sufficient and simpler. Although double check locking is a classic interview question and an excellent way to understand concurrency, modern Java often prefers simpler alternatives like an eagerly initialized singleton or an enum singleton. They are easier to implement and inherently thread safe. But still, understanding this pattern gives you valuable insight into how concurrent programming works. So today we explored why a basic singleton can fail in a multi-threaded environment, how race conditions occur and how Java uses synchronization, double check locking, and volatile to build a safe and efficient singleton. We have now completed one of the most fundamental creational design patterns. But what happens when creating an object involves multiple choices, configurations, or complex setup? And that's exactly what we will solve in the next episode with a factory pattern. Until then, keep learning, keep building, and I will see you in the next one.